My name is Savannah Skyler. I am 16 years old. I am a Mormon lesbian that lives in Utah. I went up for a testimony meeting
and not feel ashamed for being me.
And I got about 2/3, I think, away into my testimony where the microphone shut off. Tomorrow's our first day at school, so we're all kind of on edge.
I'm so scared for school to start up.
I need to make a safe place within my school for LGBTQ+ students.
Right now, the main goal for Teens for Equality is fighting to end social and racial inequality. The other members aren't coming today, but we're still gonna go show up.
Say her name! Breonna Taylor. We are like a fairly new organization. We have like a lot of work to do.
The explosion in Lebanon reminded me of how important it is to tell people about what's going on.
كنت عم بفكر إنه إذا فيني أنزل على لبنان كرمال شوف غرسة وكرمال أطمن عليهم.
So that's why I made actually the decision for me to go to Lebanon. I've been working to organize this emergency fundraising for relief work.
If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't...
These problems are not just problems, they're my lived experience.
If they really did love all of God's children, they would take these policies away.
It's difficult to balance the fear that you have and the freedom that you aspire to have.
We made this protest come together. We rule the world.
I would love for our world leaders to take responsibility and do something.
This is actually gonna change something.
Every child in Nigeria should be protected at all costs.
This movement is never gonna stop.
We do not want to become a lost generation.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to hop on here and tell you my thoughts on going to school tomorrow. You can tell that I'm pretty nervous to go to school and I'm kind of anxious about seeing homophobic administration in students, but despite all of that, I am really excited. It's felt like a lifetime since I got to see some of the people that I really care about.
Hi, Savannah.
Hi everyone, we're
On the party.
and this is Donovan, this is Cameron, my two friends, and just tell me a bit about how you're feeling about going back to school.
I don't really like to a lot of people, but it's exciting being back to school.
I'll see y'all
Let's get
later.
into it.
Bye! It sucks being a lesbian at school because queer kids are treated differently just based on their orientation or gender identity. The whole reason I left my middle school was because I was called an F-slur. It's a whole experience that I feel a lot of queer kids have to go through, and nobody is willing to step up or say anything about it.
My name is Amaka Clement. I'm 17 years old. I live in Abuja, Nigeria. I currently volunteer for the Team Jamaica Foundation. They are first responders to sexual and gender-based violence. They help create a safer society where women and girls are not left behind.
Thank you later.
Thank you. Get to talk to teenagers about violence because I'm a victim of violence myself. There's easy communication between us because we are both teenagers.
My name is Favor Chibweze. I am 13 years old. And what about you?
In 2017, I was raped, but it happened that night that I went to the shop around past 8. It was already dark, there was no light. I heard my voice from a car. My name is from a car. I went back to answer the person. He was the one in the car. Then he told me, "Come, let me tell you something." So I sat like this My legs were outside. And he slammed the door and then locked it from the central lock. We started wrestling. He came, he sat on my leg. He was bringing the seat of my chair down gradually, rose my skirt. After he raped me, he said if I tell anybody I would die, that I should get out of his car. I lived with that for a year and I did not tell anybody because I did not want to die. In August 2017, after I told my mom, I went to the police station. Police insulted me that I like what happened to me, that I'm not a stupid person, that I'm crazy, all sorts of things. So, since 2017 till now, 2020, my case has still been in court. After being raped, I went to a boarding school, all-girls school. So in 2019, I went for another camp. I went with my friend to another camp, Living Faith camp. And then I met my boyfriend. March 2020, this year. So he came visiting, we lodged in a nearby hotel, and then that's how I got pregnant. Why I left my house is because of shame. My dad is going to kill me and kill the baby together, kill us together. Nobody knows, just my mommy. That's why I'm here. So till I give birth before anybody's going to know about it. I normally get shamed by people, telling them that I'm going to regret what I'm doing. To help teenagers navigate through life, not to go through the same phase I'm in now.
Hi.
What's up, my broski?
What's up, my my sister? كيفك? Do you have any lectures today?
Yeah, I have lecture.
I still feel like I haven't started university because I get out from my bed into the lecture and then it's very hard to take teachers seriously while they're in their PJs giving you classes. So
maybe you should start taking it seriously.
Maybe I should start. No, but the midterm paper is just like 1,500 paper that I have to write, which is like it's a little bit more than IB, but it's not that much more. I was thinking to write it about Kashmir and Ukraine. It gets tiring talking about the Middle East, both in your life, like in your private life and in your academia. I try to disconnect, like, oh, tell me about Syria. I'm like, oh, I do that all the time. I wanna do something else. I'm famous, you're not. So whenever I make an interview, so I talk about it way more than you know. Oh yeah, super cool. You know, I'm going to Lebanon next week, right?
Oh yeah, you are? How come?
I'm doing this project with Voice, and they're helping me into going to Lebanon to look at the situation and what happened after the explosion and stuff like that. So maybe we can start some project or something.
Take me with you. Tell Voice to take me with you.
I will tell them now. I'll tell it to you. Yeah. Lebanon and Syria have a very bad history. So a lot of times we've faced a form of discrimination, not because we're refugees, but also because we're Syrians. And we've been reminded by that constantly. Oh, you're a Syrian. How is it surviving war? Oh, you're a Syrian. That's the only interesting thing about you because you survived war. Having to prove yourself every time that there is more to you. That I like photography, for example. This photo is the same as this one. It's a woman from one of the refugee camps we used to work on. Yeah, this is one of the photos that I really like or enjoy. This is a bombed car, and someone wrote "Syria forever" in here. So yeah, so I thought it would be very interesting to get a shot from the, well, bombed car and then Syria forever, because it was during the war. To prove that you're a person to people, it gets quite tiring. So I think that's why I used to hate being a Syrian. Now I don't hate it. I'm very proud of being a Syrian, but I hate that aspect of it.
The original members of the group are me, Naya, Z, Jade, and Rose, and Michaela. When we first started the group, it was going amazing, but now it's like people are really passive aggressive when others try to voice their opinions, and some people like to invalidate others' feelings, saying like you don't have a right, or like you shouldn't be feeling like this. Or people would get really upset, or they aren't as educated as they are supposed to be.
So how do you feel about the group? Like, what's going on right now?
I'm really thinking about leaving. I was talking about it with Michaela, of course, and she was like, I'm gonna leave too. I have no want to be with them.
Because you feel like they don't do enough?
That too, and so Kennedy planned this protest. She came in my room and she was like, so do you know when we're gonna organize? I said, we actually need to, because people in Nashville haven't been organizing lately. And that's where the laziness starts. And Kennedy started contacting people, and she got stuff done, right? And she posted it and she was like, okay, everything is done. She did all of the work. Mm-hmm. And then Jade and Emma Rose came out of nowhere and tried to come and change stuff around. Kennedy was livid. She was like, how are you gonna try to change something that you didn't even do? She's like, I was busy with school. She was like, and I am too.
It sounds like a lack of communication.
We've talked about it multiple times. That's all we do is talk about communication. All we do is talk about planning. I don't hate Teens for Equality. I love what we're doing and everything like that. I'm cool with Ryan and Eden because those are my friends and we always see eye to eye. But with other people, it's they don't trust your judgment and they step over what they're supposed to be doing. I don't like it here. I want to leave. But I don't want to leave because I feel like I have a responsibility. But at the same time, if I was to leave, it's not like I wouldn't go to protests. I wouldn't still engage in the Black Lives Matter movement and any movement at all. Because this is something that affects me as a person of color, as a woman, as a teenager, heavily.
It is mentally a lot being a part of a group that has different beliefs and all that. Being a part of a group full of young girls can be mentally exhausting. And my sister, she really shuts down really easily.
I probably have to sit back and think about it a little more because this is something that is important to me. And quitting is kind of like telling people that I gave up on this movement. I gave up on fighting for social and racial justice because we are the ones who have to experience this as people of color, as Black people,
Yeah. How do you think that would affect Kennedy?
Even if I tell her, I want to leave, she's like, you're not going anywhere. And she's like, I think we should still organize though. It's she's not gonna let me out of this. She was like, I'm the most important member, at least to her, because I'm her sister. She was like, you know how to get stuff done. I don't want to feel guilty about leaving. So leaving it's just there.
Yeah.
It's something we have to talk about.
So there's some comments that I've heard today that I already feel very off about hearing, and it's just the first day of school.
The worst happened. Somebody said the F slur, so that kind of sucked really bad. And I was like, that was the tipping point. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I just want to go home and lie down in my bed.
Yeah, it's the fact that you want to be safe and in a place where you can be yourself.
There's so many people who get away with just saying the rudest things and nothing happens. And it's weird because like I feel so different from everybody else. Like
Isolated?
I feel like an outcast, you know. Everybody says that I'm like the most confident person like ever, but that's really not true.
No matter how confident you are always able to be affected by these harsh words, these harsh judgments, these labels that people put on you. When you're spending majority of your time at a school, you want that school to be somewhere safe where you can feel love and acceptance.
Just thinking about like, my teacher doesn't support me. So how can you feel like you're going to be in a comfortable environment when you know that the person who's in charge of you is like, yeah, no, I don't like them too much.
How about you, Allie? Do you feel comfortable talking to teachers, administration, or counselors about issues?
Not really. I think the majority of them haven't been super trustworthy, in my opinion. A lot of them seem to put the rules of the school above the mental health of the school. I just want it to be normalized. It's kind of hard living in a world where what I am is considered a choice and not, you know, something that I found out about myself, and it's not normal, you know? I have to be careful what I say and where I say it, because if I say it to the wrong people, it could affect my future and my life in really negative ways.
Yeah, I think a lot of this does come from like the main religion that's here. Like having a,
Oh, definitely.
I've talked about it before, but like a 98th percentile of Mormons within our school.
98?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And imagine, 98% of 3,000 kids.
Yeah, so
That's a
many.
lot of kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys were like raised in Mormonism. Are you a current practicing member?
I am. I don't have anything against the church because the core beliefs are they're meant to make people better people, and the people in that church, a lot of them got me through the hard times, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah. Do you feel almost hurt the fact you pretty much won't be able to partake in the sacrament or go into the temple or have any kids that are baptized or anything like that because you're queer?
I'm not out to my parents, and maybe this is how they find out. But I am bisexual, and I have done things that are against the church, and my parents know that. And it's hard to see their judgment, because I don't personally believe that I made the wrong choice, and they do. And they think less of me because of it.
So, just wanted to say, Allie, I'm always here for you. If you need a couch to sleep on or someone to talk to, I'm always a call away. You could always come over if you need just a spot to get away from your family. In Utah, that's almost kind of a privilege of having a supportive family. Like, I could say I have the privilege of having supportive parents and brothers and sisters. And you can say that you have the privilege of a supportive family. These two people don't really know where their parents are standing, and
sucks.
And that's horrible to think about because that's happening all around Utah. Like the rate of homeless youth, 61% of homeless youth are kicked out of their homes in Utah.
And how can you stare into the eyes of your own child and tell them to leave? That honestly makes me want to cry. That's so saddening.
In my own high school last year, we had 3 students sadly take their lives. One of them was a queer student, and it really hurts me because it makes you kind of realize that it's very common for teenagers to go through this. In Utah, the #1 leading cause of death from 10 to 17-year-olds is suicide. So it makes you kind of wonder if religion has a hand in that type of statistic. I can understand why they felt this was the easiest option to go with. It almost kind of pains me because I can see myself in their shoes. I could see myself being the kid that committed suicide, and everyone just says, wow, that was that one queer kid that died. I just wish I could be there for people. And I hope one day I will be there for as many queer kids as I could be.
So tomorrow I'll be going to Lebanon. Vice decided to actually help me with going to Lebanon to visit the school, and my mom, I felt excited. It's a good chance for me to see how the situation is, to meet everyone and to meet the team in Lebanon and to meet the children and just spend some time there. I miss it. So I think this is good for me and good for the work, so that's good. It will be my first flight after the pandemic started, so that's also quite stressful. I'm prepared. I've got the masks and I've got the hand sanitizer, a whole shield, because just in case, you never know, you can't be too prepared during these times. And I'm always stressed about if I'm gonna get in, if I'm not gonna get in, because the treatment of Syrians in Lebanon is a little bit different, and I don't want to get into trouble or anything.
فرحان جبت لك كورس لا مو أول مرة أول مرة نعيش معها حسينا حالنا مشهورين
شوب هون شوب كثير بالنسبة للسويد
حضرت وعملت لك أكل حزون
شو؟
حزون
محشي؟
لا المحشي بقول باذنجان مقلي مو طيب؟
ايه ممتاز ممتاز
My dad is violent. He beats me and my mom up. So staying with my daddy will expose me to more violence. So that's why I left. I currently stay with Miss Dorothy. She's the CEO of Dorothy Njumanzi Foundation. She helps to protect the rights of women and girls. She has provided shelter for me, clothes, she feeds me, and then she helps my family financially. I'm not in school presently because I'm pregnant. Hopefully I'll go back to school.
I'm trying to call my friend Rebecca. We work on something.
Hello, Mr. Emeka.
So, Amaka is a pregnant child.
Amaka is a pregnant child?
Yes.
How old is she?
17.
Right now, she's supposed to be writing her final exams, her SSC.
But can I ask, is it okay if I ask under what circumstances Amaka is having a child?
Some adults think that it's their right to have sex according to them with children, and as far as I'm concerned, it's rape. Children cannot consent to sexual activity. You know how it is. Schools still expel children who are pregnant.
Yeah.
So she's doing quite some advocacy around it. She wants to go and visit the Minister of Women Affairs. At least since they will not let her write the exam peacefully now, without giving her criminal record, let her achieve something which every girl in Nigeria could benefit from.
Yeah, Amaka, I must say that you're a very strong girl. So if there's any way that I could help, please let me know.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Have a pleasant night.
You too, bye. How do you feel about this? What?
Encouraging.
we're fighting against people thinking that sex with you was legitimate. All these things exist because we have been quiet over time. We need to get to that point where we stop being quiet. People will sit and say, Amaka, Amaka. Say, fine like Amaka.
Today we found out that the governor passed a bill that would implement harsher sentences on protesters. So this is basically an anti-protester bill.
This week, Governor Bill Lee quietly signed a new bill into law that makes it a felony to illegally camp on state property, punishable by up to 6 years in prison. People found guilty of a felony in Tennessee lose their right to vote.
I feel like it's important that we as young people protest this bill because the country's future is in our hands.
Who's that? That's what I'm checking. A bad bleep.
Hey guys, so we're going to the park.
Can we go upstairs? No, because it's raining and it's wet and some people sit on the porch also. I'm gonna call Ryan to see if she wants to come down here.
Naya and I invited all the members of Teens for Equality to come over to talk about the protests and the issues within the group.
Maybe I should look at the weather forecast. Kitty, it's gonna rain tomorrow. It just kind of is what it is.
Last time
it cleared up, but that's like after a week.
It did rain though.
We had a week to see how it would clear up. We don't have a week. We have a day.
One day.
We have a couple of hours. Our first protest, it started raining, and we kept going.
But I feel like it's important to protest it now because they already made an announcement.
Time to like just actually go through with the entire bill.
Exactly. Yeah. And because we have such a huge platform, I think it's going to spread a lot of awareness.
No one has time to keep pausing their life. People have time, but no one has time to continue to work on our time. Like, people want to protest. I wanted y'all to come over, and I called you especially, because I wanted to talk about what's going on in our group first of all, because it's hectic.
Right now, the issues within the group have kind of spiked because you have arguing, which, some of the members are really passive aggressive, so when you try to educate them or talk to them, they get really upset or angry. So right now, the group isn't as good as I wish it was.
But also, talking about this protest, how do you feel about them adding stuff after not responding to anything, after we've been wanting to organize and only people who actually respond on time? And Ryan has class too. They're like, but I have class. She does too, and she's in a higher grade.
See what the problem is that she was making excuses. You decided to be a part of Teens for Equality, which means you have a responsibility of Teens for Equality. It's not even that, it's that she'd rather go swimming than go to a protest.
Me and Jade left Teens for Equality. I think it just was individually what was best for me. There was a lot of miscommunication and a lot of stories were twisted around, and I don't think they or me really knew what was happening. For me and Jade, we were just kind of individually we needed to grow as people, and individually we needed to do our own activist work, and we needed to just step back and take some time for ourselves, and that's why we left Teens for Equality.
What we were thinking, after becoming an actual group, was if we add people to a group, teenagers who can finally say something, have a platform to speak out on how they feel, who are also educated about the topics that we all know about, because if one person isn't educated and they go and do something dumb, it makes us look bad, because y'all let them do this. So adding educated people and who are open to protest, who are open to hear people's ideas and things like that, that's really important.
I think it's important to be inclusive
to
other people.
What we're doing is really important because we're not even supposed to be doing what we're doing. We're teenagers, one. Two, this isn't our business, other people y'all are too young to deal with this, but we have to, right?
I need protests, at least a protest every month, because when we slouch or when we slack off, we're saying, oh, this problem is, we're just gonna ignore this problem. It's not important to us right now. I'm busy with school. School isn't a valid reason for me.
I think our conversation is done. We can go live.
You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
we're getting on here to talk about tomorrow's protest. Tomorrow's protest is definitely still going to be happening. Oh, also introduce yourself. You're not really known.
Oh, my name's Eden. This is Ryan. We're the new members of Teens for Equality.
We're trying to show Governor Bunker Lee that we're here and that we have a right to protest. It doesn't matter what you're protesting. You have a right to protest. It says it in the Constitution. And we're also trying to get him to understand that what he needs to be worrying about right now is the way his state troopers are acting.
See, it's not just him. It's the people who also make the laws.
Please come prepared. Please come with water and food. Please, we don't want anybody to pass out. I need everybody to make sure that you have on shoes that have grip on them. We're gonna have a bail bond fund just because of the law that's been passed recently. Jaden and Rose have left the group. I don't really understand why Jade left the group, but Emma Rose was really problematic. I don't even think we're gonna speak about that.
We have talked to Emma Rose about the things that she has done. I don't want you guys to go to her Instagram or anything and attack her. Just if you could just simply just leave her alone and leave her be. That's all we had to say to introduce the members, to address whatever was happening. Bye, you guys. Okay.
Bye, you guys. We love you.
I think the hardest part about being an ally is knowing what to say and keeping yourself educated on your toes. I definitely had a hard time knowing what to say at times and possibly saying the wrong things. And I just had to remember, keep myself educated and knowing what's going on and discussing things with my friends and my family.
بعتي له البابا. هويتي بالطبونة ما بدي افتحها على الحاجز
لا
شو افتح الطبونة بكل شناتي؟
هويتك
بالطبونة. ايه لاني
ما ما بيسألوا حد على الحاجز، شو صار لك؟
هو اخر مرة انا كنت هون كانوا يسألوا الكل على الحاجز.
كنت اتخيل انك تمر على الحاجز عم تتصور؟
لا بس اخر مرة مريت على الحاجز معي كاميرا وقفوني شي 3 ساعات على جنب وفتشوني شي. تكلم طلعوا صفنا شوي بعدين تفضلوا.
كيف الوضع
ما هن من لما بلشت الكورونا ما التزموا. لا ما في حظر ولا شيء. بس هن اصلا السويد هن عندهم حجر صحي بشكل طبيعي. الناس ما بتطلع برا بيتها يعني
ما بتشوف حدا بالشارع
يعني من مكتبين على السيارتين على البيت، من البيت على السيارة على المكتب. هاي حياتي. أو من البيت على السيارة على المدرسة. لا ما في حياة اجتماعية قليل. يعني العالم الوحيدين اللي بيطلعوا على مطاعم وكذا هن العرب هونيك. المهاجرين. رجع على السويد.
يعني انت ما بدك تقعد معنا؟ طيب
بجي بقعد معاكي بس فترة طويلة. شو بدي اقعد نضل انا وياك بوجه بعض فترة طويلة؟
انا ما عندي رح اروح على السويد.
كثر ما بتروح على السويد.
سلام ابو لؤي. الله يسلمك.
يلا مع السلامة. شكرا. نشوفك. ليه؟ والله كبيرة. بيت خالتي سناف قاعدة هون فترة مو؟ ولا لا بس شو بدك 3 غرف؟ كل يوم بتنامي بغرفة؟ لا هلا هو هذا كبير ماما مو؟ هو هذا الخبز كبير مو؟
لا هذا الخبز الطبيعي.
عن جد؟ أنا كنت آكل 4 من هدول باليوم. كنت آكل كيس من هدول باليوم.
لا ممكن. أما لسالي عملته.
كثير قوي طعمته.
هو هذا لأنه تيتي عملتي.
بس طيب.
Tomorrow I'm visiting the school, and I'm actually quite excited to see the kids and the teachers and all the staff there.
I'm gonna ask you all, do you know what the no promo homo law was? It was a law that was in Utah a couple of years ago and just got repealed. And it was just saying that teachers aren't allowed to talk about LGBTQ plus issues because it's like, it's almost perverted. But since it got repealed and they only sent out an email to teachers saying that it was repealed, pretty much every teacher doesn't know about it. And that's a huge problem within the school system is because teachers don't know if they're allowed to talk about these issues and whether they're allowed to say, I support you for being queer.
No promo homo refers to the laws and regulations that prevent public educators from discussing homosexuality with students. In 2017, the state of Utah removed the advocacy of homosexuality from their list of prohibited topics in public education, but many teachers continue to avoid the discussion.
What do you think specifically us as students can do to make a change?
Teachers and just the whole faculty needs to be trained in order to understand how to deal with this kind of issues.
I agree.
You need to stop it from the source.
So we'd be able to get the message across to everyone.
Yeah.
And we could have all of these kids go to a safe place if they don't feel comfortable at home or if they don't feel comfortable at school. And we can make this just a good vibe and something that can go national. I actually heard a very interesting idea one time, and it was something that GSA was going to do last year. We're thinking of laminating rainbow flags and asking teachers if they're willing to put them up in their classroom. So I think that would be a cool way because we could find teachers that would support us, and if they don't have a rainbow flag in there, you can kind of tell how they feel on the topic. So that might be a good way to get administration informed that students are trying to find a safe place in school.
And I think it also has to do with the students being willing to learn. Because if you're not willing to learn at school,
what are you doing?
What are you doing there? That's the whole point. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to develop and grow as a person. That way you're able to help the country, those around you, and your community grow in a more positive way.
I was talking to my friends after school, and we were talking about just being out to our communities and our families. And I realized that most of my friends, as I stated before, aren't out of the closet yet. And I just wish there was more areas where they could feel safe and more resources that they could reach out to and get help from.
So what we're trying to do is to get a draft of your letter. You're writing to
Education and Ministry of Women Affairs.
Okay.
Let me first get the address. Three.
Yes.
So let me read the letter to you.
Okay.
My name is Clement Michelle Chamaka. I'm a 17-year-old sexual reproductive health and rights activist that believes that all girls have the right to quality education, regardless of their pregnancy. During my meeting with you, I would like to talk about the expulsion of teenage, pregnant adolescent girls from school in Nigeria.
Okay, this sounds good. So finish up so that we can look at it and see how we can refine it.
advocacy is on sexual reproductive health and rights, enlightening teenagers on their rights, knowing that they have right to safe abortion and not being judged for it. DNF, we have cases of teenagers being raped, violated, and then they don't feel free to talk to adults around. They get to communicate faster, talking to a teenager like them. And I'm also pregnant. I'm 5 months gone. I'm in my 6th month. How many months am I? So today we helped rescue a pregnant 16-year-old girl that has been suffering from violence. So we helped relocate her. And then we'll be going for her scan very soon to know the welfare of the baby. This advocacy has been of great importance, helping me to be confident. We help other people not to go through the same thing I went through.
All right.
Jay said with the live video could have been handled much differently. They asked why she left. We gave them the reason.
They still have to explain why they left. Everyone still have to explain why she left.
It's not even fair because I can literally be like, she came out of nowhere and tried to change the whole event that I planned. She was like, yeah, she's wrong, but when we actually inform everybody about what she's doing, like, why do you think the group went on pause? Because we were in La La Land?
You see, the people who want to attack us are white.
They want us to educate them, but can't educate themselves
Man,
on problems they created.
That's the point. If you're fighting for equality and rights, you have to be educated, correct?
Kennedy.
Ma'am.
So why do you think that it was okay for you? So what did you say?
We just told them why she left.
You said y'all said terrible, terrible things. Actually, as soon as I leave this petition, you have a cyberbullying, Kennedy, I'm going to deal with you, and I ain't said something that we're not going to tolerate. And if you guys made a video about Emma Rose, take that shit down, and I mean take it down now. You understand me?
Yes, ma'am, Mama, but we weren't cyberbullying her.
You gotta do something because her mama was just called. Actually, I'm gonna three-way me, you, and her mom, so I can hear your side and I can hear Emma's side.
Let her playing victim. Mama, she's playing victim.
Like I said, if a parent call me, I'm just going to hear her side, and I want to hear y'all.
She actually left on her own accord.
Okay, then, so just listen to what you said. You said we can't have nobody in the group like that. I just said, if she's still in the group, you said no, she left on her own accord, so she's not in the group, so why does it matter?
Yes.
Let us say whatever she's going to say.
True.
That's for the remaining girls and teens for equality to go and make an apology about Emma Rose, things are not true, which they are not. And actually, you know what, y'all? I'm going to make y'all out this damn group. It's a bit much.
Yes, ma'am.
What's happening right now in our country, I don't have time to sit here and hear a cry about something when I'm the one who has to go through racism, sexism, and everything else. So no, and I'm not gonna sit here and let you cry about it.
When we were in elementary school and I got to arguing with somebody who was white over a crayon, I got in trouble for it. When I got to fighting with a white girl who called me the N-word with a hard ER and she pushed me, I got in trouble for it. When they literally said go back to your country and I yelled at them, I got in trouble for it. Like, does nobody care about my side of the story?
No.
They don't?
No.
This is what my life is about, like apologizing when I'm the one who should be apologizing.
That's the way it is in America, Kennedy. If you're too passionate about something, you're angry, you're loud, you're ghetto.
So I just feel like my feelings they're not valid. I feel like my opinion is invalid.
Everyone says that the person who is not like listened to or anything is a black woman. You're a black woman. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
I swear if my mom, she comes home and she says anything that makes me feel like I'm invalid, I will be walking out of this house and I will be going somewhere.